and welcome to the Victorious Living Solutions podcast. I'm your host, Nikeya Young. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. We have a very important topic, so let's get into it. We are titling today's episode, Holy Gaslighting Batman. Yep, we're talking about gaslighting. So this whole season is about surviving toxic relationships, and gaslighting is one of the number one tools that toxic people use to control others. So what is gaslighting? I looked up the definition of gaslighting on Psychology Today, and gaslighting is defined as an insidious form of manipulation and psychological control. Victims of gaslighting are deliberately and systematically fed false information that leads them to question what they already know to be true, often about themselves. They may end up doubting their memory, their perception, and even questioning their sanity. Over time, a gaslighter's manipulations can grow more complex and potent, making it increasingly difficult for the victim to see the truth. So that's a very interesting definition. Just listening to that, you can see why gaslighting is so dangerous. This person, whoever's doing this tactic, they know exactly what they're doing. It's not one of those things where, oh, I wasn't aware. They know that they're flat out lying to you and they're twisting the truth to serve their own sick, twisted agenda. And they don't care. It is deliberate psychological warfare. And that is why you should not tolerate it in any shape, form, or fashion. Anytime somebody tries to tell you a version of the truth that you know is not what happened at all, you can very safely assume that this is not a safe person. This person is trying to harm me. The term gaslighting actually comes from a movie that a play. In 1938, there was a play called Gaslight, and there was a film adaptation of the play. So basically, throughout the course of this play, a husband is manipulating his wife, deliberately trying to make her think she's going crazy. He turns the lights dim ever so slightly. He moves things in the house ever so slightly. And he literally drives her crazy. She's like, oh my God, and I know that's not how I left that. Is it me or do the lights seem? And he's just like, I don't know what you're talking about, honey. The lights are fine. And she starts to question, is something wrong with my eyesight? Am I losing my mind? Like, I'm seeing all of these things, and he's making her think like she's the only person seeing these things. And he slowly keeps upping the ante. And that's what gaslighting is. And for me, I would say I don't tolerate it. I don't. Nobody is going to piss on me and tell me it's raining. It's just not happening. It's a no-go. If you want to know what you should do when you're gaslit, these are some things that I say you should do. First and foremost, things that people who are gaslighting will say is, that's not what happened. You're imagining that. Oh, you have such a vivid imagination. Oh, that's not how I remember it. And it's important to resist. That's number one. Resist, but resist in a calm tone. Don't escalate because they're trying to get a rise out of you. But let them know that whatever they're talking about is some BS and you don't believe them, right? So you're very clearly letting this person know. If you're looking for somebody to control, keep looking because you're not going to find them here. I'm not buying whatever it is you're selling. Okay? So yeah, resist. That's not how I remember it. Oh, really? Well, that's exactly how I remember it. Right? Full stop. Another thing is to, and I talked about this in another episode, collect evidence. If somebody is constantly trying to, or saying things and then later saying that they didn't say them, switch the mode of conversation. Okay? I would say don't just stop talking to that person altogether. But sometimes if it's a coworker or somebody that you can't really avoid having to talk to them, make sure that the bulk of your conversations are in written form so that you can slowly collect evidence. When they try to say, I never said that, you're lying, you can pull out, you did on March 5th, 2021 at 3 p.m. This is you right here. You said XYZ, right? And they can't really argue with that because they said it. So it's really good with these people that are manipulators, gaslighters. You have to have receipts, honey, because they will fully commit to the lie. Okay? They will lie, and they will lie to other people. They will have a whole gaggle full of people on their cheerleading team against you, trying to make it seem like you're the crazy person when they know good and well that they are lying through their teeth. It's not about truth for them. It's about control. Who can I get to believe my version of events? Okay? Another thing, speak up about the behavior. So, yeah, don't take it lying down. Don't take it lying down. Just, don't be afraid to call it out. Like, I see what you're doing and it's not acceptable. Okay? They want you to, and they'll be like indignant, like yelling, oh my gosh, you're lying. That's not what happened. Like, they'll sound so convinced that even though they're lying, you'll be like, well, dog, okay, maybe I'm tripping. No, you're not tripping, okay? You're not tripping. It's not you, okay? That's exactly what they want. The more indignant they get, they put on Oscar-worthy performances. Like, they're fully convinced. But don't let that sway you, okay? The moment you go, well, maybe I did misremember it because this person seems to be pretty adamant. So, and you may even catch yourself apologizing like, sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. It's just that, that's what they want. They use it as a tactic to disempower the person that they're practicing on. So take your power back. Do not back down from what you know to be true, and gather receipts. Another thing is to, if anybody bears witness, make sure that you have somebody that can bear witness. You saw that, right? I just said this and they said a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm not crazy, right? That's really good to have somebody to bounce things off of. This is something that I did when faced with the situation. Fresh off of the event, I went and got a notebook out and I just literally wrote everything down as it happened. Okay, I said this, and they came back with this. And they had all of these other falsehoods to support their lie. But at the end of the day, regardless of everything they were yapping about, I said this, and they came back with this, and it's false. The end. You have to really unpack, because you will be like, what hornet's nest did I kick over to kick off World War III. Like, what is going on? Okay? The more control that they lose, the more irrational they get with the gaslighting. What causes this? Okay, so this is important to know. We're talking about toxic relationships. And if you're wondering what causes gaslighting, these people are unwell. They clearly have some kind of undiagnosed behavior disorder, be it narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial disorder, any other cluster B disorder, whether they've been formally diagnosed or not. I'm telling you, nobody who is a well-functioning, healthy-minded individual is doing gaslighting. It is peak psychological warfare. There is no way that anybody who means you any good at all can do this to you. So if somebody in your life is doing this to you, just know they are deliberately trying to drive you crazy. They're deliberately trying to drive you crazy. This is not one of those behaviors where it's like, oh, just whatever. We'll just look over that. You just have to look, oh, that's just how they are. How they are is insane. Sane people do not do this. This person does not mean you any good. Set your boundaries. Remove yourself from the presence of anyone who is trying to do this to you, especially if little kids are involved, because as adults, it's easy for us to know when we're being manipulated or see when something's not quite right. For little kids, they may feel instinctively that something is wrong, but they have something in them that's also telling them, oh, well, if an adult is saying this, then, they're more prone to second guessing themselves just because, well, grown-ups are supposed to know everything. Grown-ups are supposed to be who I go to for guidance. Grown-ups are supposed to know what to do. And so if you are in a situation where you have a family member that is highly manipulative and gaslights and all of that stuff, do not give this person access to your children. I will say this, if this person is going to have access to your children, they need to only have access to your children when you are present, because they could be telling your children anything and manipulating the heart of your child or your children against you, little by little, little by little. Well, did mommy say this? Well, I don't really know if that's true. I mean, they could be telling your child anything, and they will use your children to get to you. If they couldn't control you, then they will control the relationship that you have with your child by sowing discord through gaslighting. So that is very important. You have to, as a parent, you have to protect and guard your own heart and mind, but definitely the hearts and minds of your precious little ones. And, debrief, have conversations with them. What did you think about that? That's not really true, is it? Well, why? And just let them know it's okay to acknowledge that grown-ups are not always right. If this grown-up's saying something that's harmful, we don't believe that. We don't do that here. That's not what we do in our home. Well, why did they say that, mommy? Well, clearly they have some other mental health issues going on, and we're going to pray for them tonight during our family devotion, but that was not okay, right? It's important to have these discussions and not just leave them on their own to try to unpack what the heck is going on and why did grandma or uncle or auntie say all this crazy stuff, right? What else can I say about gaslighting? We talked about what it is. We talked about how to respond to it. Y'all, gaslighting is so detrimental to your psyche that if you're around somebody that does this a lot, you need to go to therapy and unpack. Because even though you know they're not telling the truth, the weight of dealing with months or years of their manipulations, it's designed to tear at the very fabric of who you are as a person. So I'm telling you some things that you can do on your own to guard your mental, but don't take for granted that you're okay, right? Because, they're doing a whole psychological warfare on you. So you need to make sure that you're fighting back with the word of God, but also seeking professional counseling to work through and do some other tactics to undo years of psychological harm. That stuff is real. And if your sense of self-worth or self-esteem has been impacted, it affects how you show up in the world. And a lot of that is the point of why they're doing this to you in the first place. They want to be able to control how you show up in the world. And they want to make sure that how you're showing up is not above where they are. They want to keep you on a lower level than where they are, right? So fight back. Don't accept their lies as truth. Don't hold audience with a person who is deliberately trying to bend the truth. They should not have unprecedented access to you. They should have very limited, if not no access to you at all. If you're in a dating relationship with someone who does this, baby, you need to run like Flojo, okay? Hightail it out of there because it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse, okay? It's only a matter of time before, this person could be capable of anything. They could be slowly poisoning you by putting stuff in your protein shakes or something. They could be doing anything. You have to assume anybody who is willing to lie, you can't trust anything they say or do. You literally have to assume that they're capable of anything because they are. Because who does that? Not little white lies, not that any lying is okay, but big, huge lies trying to make someone think that they're crazy. No, your heart and mind already knows the truth. So follow your instincts and get out. We also have a quiz. If you go to victoriousliving.com/toxic, we have a quiz. Is my relationship toxic? And we want you to go ahead and do that assessment. And once you have the results, take the necessary action steps to guard your heart and guard your mind. We want to be in good mental health so that we can do the things that God has called us to do. That is why I have devoted this entire season to this. I am tired of seeing the devil whoop up on people, cause people to question their self-worth, cause people to doubt themselves, to doubt God. I'm tired of it. I want to give people all the tools that they need to excel, to live victoriously. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Bye, everybody.